All right, all right, all right. Good morning, my family. How's everyone doing today? Make sure everybody can hear me. Let's see. Hello. All right, let me say hellos first. Good morning, everyone. As always, I'm gonna say good morning. You take that to mean whatever time zone you're in. Good morning, Connie. Good morning, Heather. Let's see. Good morning, Chris Mendoza. Let's see who else is here. Oh, you guys had snow. Good morning, Anthony. Let's see. Good morning, Linda. Good morning, Michelle. Wow. Texas, 75 to 38. That's crazy. Paige, good morning. Let's see who else is here. Looks like that's almost everyone. That's almost everyone. Fantastic. Camera's a touch blurry. Let me see if it's the camera or what. I have a shamming. Let's see. Going to shamify. How's that? Let's see if we're better. I wonder if that's better. It's been shamified. Lag and vibration in the audio. That's interesting. It's not better, so it must be a bandwidth thing. I sound like I'm in auto tune. Maybe I should start singing. It's the internet. It's not me. It's okay because we're actually on land right now too, so it's not even a Wi-Fi thing. Could be. It says it went to Wi-Fi because it says the connection's unstable. Try plugging it into. We're all plugged into the router. Yeah. I don't know. You can try. I'm pretty sure you did. There's many ways to do it. The brain one. Yeah. Good morning, Jeanette. Good early morning, Jeanette. Got it? I'm just checking technical things. Hold on. We go onward. Does it still sound funky? Do it, David? Okay, well, hopefully we'll improve. It's internet stuff. We've had crazy things, guys. All right, let's go on. Okay, so shout outs. Huge shout out to everyone on YouTube. I don't know if you're on YouTube. Oh, Christine is here. Hello. Dolly's here by my side. Say hi, Dolly.
Hi, everyone.
You guys hear that? Awesome. That was me. If you thought it was Dolly, it wasn't. It was just me throwing my voice, which is why I conveniently turned my head. I said, "Hi, everyone." See how that works? And don't go for the typing is easy. I just type it here like this, and I can talk and type at the same time, and it's amazing. Hello everyone, YouTube. I don't know if the audio is good now, guys. Let me know. So if you want to find us on YouTube, let me just do the quick. If you see me looking, I'm looking at the text, but the camera's here, so I mean you can see me do this a lot. If you want to find us on YouTube, we're at Bin Peaches Publishing. It's easy to find us. Just go to Bin Peaches Publishing. You'll see Storyteller or MoB Kaffeeklatsch. So that's where we are. In addition to that, we under the umbrella of Bin Peaches Publishing, we also have the CWW videos, which are the Creative Warrior Wisdom. I think we're up to 72 at this point, which is wow. It's catching up to the MoB soon. And those are just short little, vignettes or just little thoughts of wisdom to share with everyone. It's basically really for me. I like doing them, but it's just sharing thoughts for people to kind of start the day. And hopefully the thoughts help people out. It's basically what it is. Just kind of give some wisdom, uplift people and just basically make it a kind of awesome little 5 minutes, 6 minutes. They're not longer than 6 minutes, 7 minutes. You guys are just too fast. Jeez. So don't forget to subscribe on YouTube if you're not subscribed already. Like and subscribe and hit the notification bell. Yes, Audrey, we have internet issues today apparently. But the shorts are a great way to, that's why I try to do them early, the shorts. And you know, what does it sound like on your end? You can't hear it? Oh, okay. It sounds really clear.
Very clear, no lag.
No lag on my own end, yeah. But it looks blurry. Yeah, it does look blurry. Ooh. Okay. I'm gonna have to get a few parallel timelines just to kind of bolster up everything. Let me take this off. Yeah, it's definitely, let's see. Oh, it's working fast. Okay. Well, it could be any number of things, guys. So yeah, I figured it was Sid Rat, Jeanette. And we're also on Instagram at Ben Peaches. I haven't put anything up yet, but I will because, you know, just in the middle of a cold front, which we'll get to later, and getting some stuff organized for that. We'll see. On Zazzle, we're at M&S, EMANDES. Yeah, this is what happens when we talk about Sid, alternate timelines, parallel timelines, and transferring ideas over from one timeline to the next. These things start happening. I'm sorry to hear that, Jeanette. I hope you're feeling better because I had it. It was not fun. So on Zazzle, we have amazing stuff, awesome swag. Go get your swag because why wouldn't you? It's the best swag ever. So on Zazzle, M&S swag, but not just M&S swag. It's swag from across the M&S world and all the series together. Pretty much have some kind of representation. I think it's mostly M&S, but there's a little bit of everything there. The designers in M&S, the M&S designers kind of sprinkle a little bit of everything, a little bit from every series. So go there. On Patreon, we don't have new patrons, but we have patrons who have increased their support. So a huge shout out to Chris Chrisman. Thanks, Chris. Van Nebidum, I don't know how to pronounce that last. Nebidum, and Patrick Hurley for increasing their support. You guys are awesome. Yeah, landscapers are working. The dog is going crazy. Wow. Yeah, it happens. All right, so do I want to Patreon? Here we go. All right, this is the Patreon link. So I put the links up as I mentioned the location, what I'm discussing. So if I'm talking about Zazzle, the Zazzle link will be up. If I'm talking about Patreon, the Patreon link will be up, etc. and so forth. Jeanette says, COVID negative. Oh, that's good. Well, hopefully you'll recover. You got to get a lot of rest, a lot of liquids. It's not easy. I had it, and it was, you could ask Dolly, it was rough. It was rough for me. It was rough for her. And I think that's the most weight I lost in the shortest amount of time because I didn't eat. I think, what did I drink? Gatorade was the only thing I drank. Gatorade and soup. That was my diet. So that is very good news, Jeanette, that you're actually writing. That's fantastic. I mean, it shouldn't take COVID to get you to write because that's a little extreme, but I'm glad that you're actually writing. That's excellent. So what am I up to currently? Yeah, everybody's the flu has. So I'll get to in a moment. The flu has been kind of running rampant all over the place, and in addition to that, some places are getting snow already. There's been some weird weather patterns, like these bomb things that just kind of like hold the cold over certain areas of the country. So we've had some really strange weather patterns, and then flu. And I think we've been having rain for a day or two, but we're also, I think, not us, but further north is there some snow. So I know some of you have gotten snow already. So prepare. It's going to be one of those rough years of weather. So just be safe if you're out. If you have to drive in crazy weather, be safe, please. And or if you have to go out in snow, or if you're going to go shoveling, make sure that you're healthy enough to shovel. It seems like a simple thing, but if you have to shovel a lot of snow, it takes its toll because snow is really heavy. It's a real exertion. So just be sure that you can handle the exertion of like shoveling snow, you know? Oh, let's see. Am I seeing Stranger Things? No, I haven't watched. I watched one episode, two. I think that 2 episodes of Stranger Things were in the beginning, and then I haven't watched anything else. But I have watched the lead, Billy Bobby. What's her name? I don't know what her name is. But she's in Enola Holmes. She's the lead of Enola Holmes, and I've watched her in Enola Holmes, and I like how she acts there. Billy Bobby Brown. Millie? Millie Bobby Brown, who's in Stranger Things, if I'm not mistaken, where she became known, and she's been in Enola Holmes as the lead as Enola, and so she's really good there. But I haven't seen Stranger Things. No. I hear good things. I haven't watched much. I think I watched 2 episodes. No, that's about it. All right, so what's going on? What are the updates? Let's see. I'm in the midst, or not the midst, because I'm near the tail end of cold fronts. I can't talk too much about it because I don't want to spoil it. But if you have questions, I think I can answer some of it. What I can tell you is that I've actually gotten to the romantic part of this book in the series. Is that how that works? Yeah. So I've gotten to the actual. Okay, I've gotten to the actual romantic part in this book, but there's been romance in. I guess there's been romance in the first book. I don't really know how the rules work, But yeah. Hello, Rebecca. Welcome. Chris says we're finishing the series Discovery of Witches. Oh, we haven't continued our Discovery of Witches. We have to continue, and we're both confused. What happened? See, I don't know what happened. We stopped. Where did we stop? I forgot where we stopped. Okay, I can tell you when we don't like a series, like when we don't kind of feel the series, because we just stopped watching. It's like we didn't hear. It wasn't like okay when it was the Korean one. What was it? The Queen of When it was the Queen, it was like, let's go next episode. Come on, let's go watch it. Discovery of Witches took a turn, things happened, and we kind of went like, that's okay. I guess we can kind of skip it. We need to find something else to watch, okay? Both of us together. Welcome, Rebecca. Yeah, I don't know. No, that can't happen yet because of the situation that you're in. But I can't spoil it. But it is definitely getting to one of those. There's tension. I'm working on the tension. That's what I'm doing. I'm working on the tension. Yeah. Isn't that a Twilight thing that they walk in daylight? That the vampires can walk in daylight? If I'm not mistaken. Oh yeah, Dracula could. I didn't know that. I have to look. I have to research. I didn't know that he could walk in daylight, but was powerless. I don't know if I said. I'm pretty sure I said if I missed you and you came in, I'm re-hiring you. So hi again in case I missed you. Let's see. So Dracula could walk. Yeah. Yeah. See. So we could walk in daylight, if I'm not mistaken, from the beginning of Discovery of Witches, right? Right? They could, because they were out. They had plenty of daylight scenes, so they could be out in the daylight. But oh, Sid isn't up to Rebecca. Sid isn't up to anything. That Chris and I were discussing Sid and parallel universes and time travel, and apparently we messed with the internet with that conversation. Welcome, Sherry. So, but Sid is always up to something. Sid being Sid, because that's his job as a lead designer. He's always up to something. I'll tell you about Discovery of Witches. I don't know. Well, we lost interest in it because why did we lose interest in it? What happened, babe? What happened that we lost interest in it?
The lead. Second season of L.
Yeah. It became wishy-washy.
Right. A bit of a character change.
It's a character betrayal. So that's what happened. It's a character betrayal. Sorry. That's why we liked him in the first season, and in the second season, he kind of just became, what do you call that? Limp rag? I don't know. He became more wimpy. That's what happened. They changed the rules because they realized the separation was causing the decline of each of the species. Yeah, I don't know. What killed your love of one program? Let's discuss this. Why did we leave certain programs? Why did we leave Supernatural, babe?
Because every episode, the world was ending. Like literally every episode, Lilith was coming back.
Lilith was on her way back, right?
Then it was like
the world was ending every
99,000
episode.
million seals.
Right, all the seals that came up, yeah. And what was it? The end of Armageddon was coming, and then which was it? Sam was beginning to become some ultimate evil, and
Right.
remember he was prophesied to be ultimate evil, and Dean went to hell and came back, and this is what happens when you go to hell and back, and yeah, it just kind of started getting preposterous.
When the show became HD,
we
it
lost
its grittiness.
Yeah. It lost the grittiness. Yeah, I remember the exact shift. One episode we saw it. So Supernatural went through an actual quality change. The first few episodes, it was gritty. Seasons. Yeah, the first two seasons were gritty and dark, and really lent to the atmosphere of the show. Actually,
It felt like
one of
the older shows.
Yeah, and it felt, you know what it reminded me of, like Twilight Zone or Black Adder, if you ever seen that, like those old shows. And then it came into the 21st century, I guess, it went HD, and all of a sudden, remember we said you could see the pores on Sam's face? It became really HD. And let me see the hairline went horrible. So yeah, and Sam's Black Adder was awesome. And Sam's receding hairline became more prominent. And then Dean is the other the shorter one. Yeah, Sam is the taller. And it changed. And so we kind of like and it changed a lot. And then but you know what? It didn't change a lot. It changed a lot, but it always became kind of the same thing.
Yes.
So we were like, okay, we're good, because I'll tell you when it happened. We started predicting what was going to happen in the episode, and you were usually right. And so we said, okay, we don't really need to watch it then unless something,
And it's really like, how many times can Lilith come back? How many times?
Quite a few times, apparently.
And there was the whole
apocalyptic thing.
Was good.
Oh, Castle was good. Castle was good. Devil was slated to come back at some point or released, or they were going to get rid of the seal. He was going to be free.
But there's some episodes that were great.
Oh yeah,
the one where Sam would cry. The whole lot. The one with the imp.
Yes.
That was really
every episode with the imp was good. Everyone, because he was just so good as a character. There were a few that were excellent. I mean, more than a few, a lot. All right, let's see. Jeanette says, in my case, it was a scene where one of the characters ended up in a fight with another, ended with the female character having won the fight, kicked her, falling upon it. I mean, after he was down, like she kicked him when he was down. Let's see. I prefer the series and movies where the director is an actual fan of the book and lore surrounding. Peter Jackson was definitely a fan of Lord of the Rings. I don't know, and Natalia and I differ here. I don't know who was running Ring of Power. Not a fan of Lord of the Rings. These people, whoever ran Ring of Power, and they got a season 2, which I don't know how that happened. So we have started a show, then stopped because it was bad. Then months later, watched it again because it was so bad we forgot it. That has happened to us. Yeah, that has happened to us. Let's see. Then let's see. After he was done, you don't want to. There are unwritten rules in combat, especially in film and things. You don't kick the character after you've beaten them. You don't kick them when they're down. It makes the supposedly good character look less good. Don't even go near Ring of Power if you like Lord of the Rings. What are the
if you want to laugh.
Only if you want to laugh. because it's so bad. It's hilarious.
It's so good.
It's so bad.
It's so bad. It's so good.
That's one of those. It's so bad. It's so good, but it's so bad. It's like if you're a Lord of the Rings purist like me, like no one should have done anything after the books, and then I begrudgingly accepted Peter Jackson's movies, even though they were incomplete, because there's no way you can get the totality of the Lord of the Rings in film unless each movie is like 6 hours long, and even then, maybe you can't. But okay, then you can watch Ring of Power if you can accept that. You know, it's so bad that it's funny and good. The Witcher is what I wanted to say. Another one where the lead, Henry Cavill, was a huge fan of the books and the games, and he loved it. And now he was playing the lead, and the showrunners had gone on record as deliberately hating the books and the game and writing whatever it is they wanted to write it. So the first season was okay because it stayed kind of close to the source material. Second and third season, I didn't even watch the third season. I watched the second season. The third season, I just boycotted. I'm done. I can't do this. This is horrible. Hi, Jasmine. Welcome. Say hello to Stacy for me, please. Have a great weekend and stay safe. Awesome. Thank you for popping in and saying hello. Yeah, so The Witcher, they had it. That was one where they could have just run. They could have ran with the whole thing. It's everything was in place, and the books by Andrzej Sapkowski was like tailor made for a show. The way he wrote those books were, you could have made a season out of each book. Did they want to do that? No, they did not. And so the fans really let them have it. They were supposed to do 7. They were supposed to do 7 seasons because there are 7 books. And what they did was they butchered the show, they butchered the season, they butchered the story, changed the characters, did their own thing, changed everything about the characters' interactions, and then Henry Cavill was like, okay, I'm out. And when he left, the show just was a downward spiral. It was bad. It was really bad. Let's see, did it seriously wibbly wobbly with me? Timing with by me. I don't know what that means, Rebecca. It sounds a little off. Yeah. Listen, Henry Cavill was a huge fan of the show. Not so much that they called him Wiki Cavill because he knew so much about the books and the game. He played the game. And the writers of that show, from what I understand, didn't read the books or barely read the books, didn't play the game. And now it's like, why would you not listen to the star of the show who came on expressly to play the show? Janelle, you really should get some sleep because if you have COVID, then you should rest because your body needs rest. So go get some rest. Thank you for coming in and saying hello. Really appreciate it. Say hello to Desmond, please, and go get some rest. Really, go get some rest. You need to rest. That's really important, especially when your body's fighting COVID. I spent 3 weeks basically in bed sleeping. So yeah, go. Yeah, so Heather, I agree. The Witch is the reason you should listen to the star. He's a fan of material. Then they went, so not only did they not listen to Henry Cavill, then they went and created Blood Origin, which is some spin-off of The Witcher that had nothing to do with The Witcher at all. And it was like, yeah, exactly, Paige. The first season, I was like, oh, this show has promise. They can really do something with this because this is just like either reading the books or playing the game. Second season, I don't know what happened. They lost their minds. They really lost. They believed all the hype. They said, we're going to do whatever we want. This is our property. Do it as we wish. Lost their minds. Lost the plot. Lost the show. Oh, and lost the star, then lost the show. It was slated for 7 seasons. And it only got 3 because even when they brought in Liam, not Neeson, Liam Hemsworth, Chris Hemsworth's brother. It didn't matter. The fans were already upset because they felt betrayed. So you want to listen to the people who know the source material, and especially I guess in something like that. You really want to listen to the people who know about the source material. And when you're they couldn't have gotten a better jackpot with Cavill because he was a huge fan of the source material. All you had to do was follow the books and the games, and you would have had a hit on your hands easily, easily. That show would have been going on years and years and years. This is what happens when the writers think they know better. So sometimes the writers and the showrunner do not know better than the actual writer or the people, the fans who are following the show. Sometimes they don't. More when you bring on writers from out of the source, like you don't bring the actual writer who wrote the book. You're bringing some other writers. Then yeah, welcome Laura. How are you? We're having some internet. Looks blurry. Doesn't look blurry for me. For me, it looks fantastic. But for you guys, it looks blurry, so I apologize. I have no control over this internet, apparently. So, yeah. All right, so let me go down. The Cold Front will be, I'm anticipating Cold Front being done over the weekend. And I'm anticipating that, but, you know, life. But next week, it should be out. So we'll see. Saints and Monks, M&S 26. So you guys know how it begins. They're on Iron Fan Mountain. Well, they're on Stone Mountain, but they have to go to Iron Fan Mountain. And it begins with Pebbles. If you read the last book, Shield Bearer, you know what that means. Pebbles, not like those of us who are old that know that Pebbles is Bam Bam's little friend from the Flintstones. That's dating me, of course. But it begins with Pebbles. And so, yes, that is Shield Bearer, which begins next week and should be done. What do we say? December or December? Should be done next month. Should be done next month. I really, 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 really push. It will be done next month. Duskblader. Duskblader's about 2/3 done. That should almost be done. It should kind of dovetail, coincide with M&S 26. And Duskblader's been a lot of fun to write, surprisingly, because it's a novella, so it's short. And it's set in the M&S world, but this is a character you haven't met yet. So, how is Going Wide working so far? Dolly, can you give us a general sense of how Going Wide is working? Chris is asking.
Well, it's really good in the sense that we are able to have the books sold on the website itself.
Right.
Which, you know,
you have control of that, yeah.
Yeah, there's work. We have the page at the store.
Yeah.
And we recently just had a book club.
That's right.
Which
Faded
for
Fury.
the first time for a white book. And that was really good to see a lot of sales on the different channels. You know, Barnes and Noble and Google, Apple. That was very good.
Yeah. So it's working out. I think you have to, when you go wide, you kind of have to go in knowing that it's going to be a process. It's going to take some time, right? And we've had good results with the books that we put wide. So far, Faded Fury is, I guess, the best book, the one that's done the best right now. And as Ali was saying, it's creating interest. And that's also why I want to finish Cold Front, because Faded Fury is book 1, and we got that one. So I want to make sure there's a book 2, so when they finish book 1, they can pick up book 2. But it's doing. We're getting a lot of interest, which is a good thing. And we're not all in Amazon, so that's also a good thing. And the real test will be if one day we take an M&S story and put it wide. That would be the real test. We'll see. But other than that, we kind of put as much as we can. Kind of have it hybrid, both wide and NKU. Anthony Hudson said, M&S interrupt this. Also, it's not a cliffhanger. It's a hill hugger. Some people took offense to my using that term. I don't know why, but it's a M&S hill hugger. I'm going to patent that as or copyright it as an M&S word. And yeah, it's these were the people who were upset that it was a cliffhanger. So it's he called. I forgot, it was in one of the reviews that I read, and I was like, oh, geez, please. So it was like, he called it a hill hugger, but it was really a cliffhanger. Like, It's not semantics. I could write a cliffhanger and everyone would hate it. So no, I'm not gonna write cliffhangers. It was a hill hugger because, and you think about it, it was a literal hill hugger because I left everyone on the mountain. So it's like literally a hill hugger or a cliff hugger. If you want to go half and half, you know. So yeah, but you know, a cliff climber maybe. So that's Saints and Monks, and Dustblade is December is gonna be that novella that's gonna be done. Then we also have the Patreon story. The next episode comes out this month, at the end of this month, so that's soon. Oh, today's the 22nd already. Jeez. So next week I gotta finish that, get that done. The next chapter, so it'll be quick. We have Broken Magic for pre-order. It's an audiobook. Yes, I'm aware our audiobooks are lagging behind our print books. Good morning, Don. Welcome. Holding on. Yes, you hold on to that loose boulder and you won't go anywhere. Just stay close. We also, just to remind you, because I forget, but Dolly always reminds me, we have signed copies of the print books, so don't forget to order your signed copy if you haven't ordered it yet. So, these things are so amazing. I'm always impressed, always. So yeah, so the audiobook is up for pre-order. Do we have a link for that? I hate when it looks blurry, because it looks so clear on StreamYard. It's amazing how clear it looks. Mountain Dangler, yes. We're gonna look for different ways to describe hill hugger. Mountain Dangler, cliff hugger is a link for to get the signed copy. So yes. And I'm working on I don't know how, I guess I can do this December. I'm working on a short Christmas story because I did it once with Saving Mr. K and that was really nice. I don't think I'm gonna make it that long, but the Saving Mr. K was a nice Christmas story. So I'm working on writing another short Christmas story about a mage that kind of goes around. It takes the role of Kris Kringle. And so that's going to be for all the Patreon members. It's going to be available. It's not hidden behind any walls or anything. It's going to be for everyone. So I don't know if it's the camera setting. It could be, because it's really just the way the camera looks. I don't know. I'd have to go into settings. Let me check settings real quick. I can check settings. Settings. I can lower the. Or I can make it high def. Does high def help? That help?
Okay.
Yeah. How about low? No. A little bit. Yeah, it does look a little better. Yeah, a little bit. I made it high def, so let's see if it's better. Okay. I will move like this. So I guess we'll have to do high def. Looks better? Oh, it's really when I move. It picks up the motion and has a hard time keeping up with the motion. Okay, so I won't move as much. How's that? Okay, I'm glad that it's better. So I'm thinking of writing a short Christmas story for everybody, just something for the season. I haven't done it in a few years, actually. Saving Mr. K was a few years ago. Also, I have to talk to Dolly because she kind of handles this stuff. But I kind of want to do a cover reveal for Dustblader. Once I get the final cover, and then I'll let her. She can kind of put it out, maybe, and see if she can control the cover reveal for that one. We'll see. What do you think, babe? Whatever works. Great answer. Yeah. So everything looks better. Does it look better on your end? Yeah. I don't even want to turn my head to look because it might. Okay. Why does it look so blurry on your screen? Oh, probably because it's large. See how it looks clear on mine, but I had to make mine small to get it to look like that. Okay. Yeah, okay, so cliff hugger. The latest M&S novel designed to stop the mob from complaining. Every chapter is a non-resolving. Oh, Anthony, that would be torture. Every chapter is a non-resolving cliffhanger with the resolutions only on the highest oracle. I'm gonna put it on oracle, and that's where. And then the resolution is gonna be an asteroid hitting the planet each time. That'll be the resolution for every chapter. And then they look up as the shadow covered the city, that kind of thing. Am I still in slow mo, Michelle? I can't help it. You know, I think it's the weather. Oh, it's raining today too, right? Yeah, it's the weather. The weather here, when it gets like that, it's like it's so strange that it would do that, but that's what it is. I don't have any other updates. Do you guys have any questions about what's going on or any comments about Shield Bearer? Because, like we were saying, Heather, I think who said they're gonna have to read Shield Bearer again? Was that Heather? Yeah. Yes. Please reread it, Heather, because it's basically Shield Bearer to Saints and Monks. They kind of continue one into the other. Those two stories work together. Yeah. So it's like when I was doing the other one that were 3. This one's like these 2 stories are basically one big story. And I couldn't write one story that big. It would be too big. So, okay, yes, I agree. There's no such thing as too big a story. But you know, for the length of the M&S stories, it was too long. So I had to break it into Shield Bearer and Saints and Monks. Yeah, the weather does affect our internet quite often when we have, especially when we have our show. We've been through some interesting technical difficulties on our shows. It's been something else. Yeah, so that's what's going on. Let's see. Let me see what else, if I have anything else that's happening. I was speaking with Chris earlier about actually getting the designer series off the ground, but that's going to take a while. There's a lot that has to clear with Q first. So Monty will learn to do other things. Yes, Don, he has to, because he can't stay at the level that he's at with the enemies that they're getting the attention of. Oh, definitely, Steven. So Peanut and Cece, I want them to. So okay, they're not gonna come back into the main trunk of the story like M&S. They don't come back in until book 28, which is Deadeye, and it's a Simon story. And Peanut and Cece and Rags, because whoever Cece is, Rags is, right? Peanut and Cece don't figure heavily in the M&S series. If you see me looking up there, I have a list of all the books. They don't figure back until that book 28. But I can definitely, I think January maybe I can do a Peanut story for the patrons. Peanut's also gonna be in the Brew and Chew, which I have to do, and I kind of want to keep sprinkling them into the M&S stories only because they're such great characters. Yeah. Did the 10 ever get back on the schedule? They are on the schedule, but it's gonna be a while before they appear, because what's happening with Simon right now is like a parentheses, and then it kicks back in when they're done with what's happening on the mountain. And then the 10 kind of get, let's see, that's book 29, 30, 31. That's when you start seeing more of the 10. And then by book 33, 34, things get really heated. Thank you. I feel forgiven. Thanks, Stephen. So this is true. You did ask me not to write it yet. The actual story of the clandestine adventures of the 10, because that is a series that's in hiatus. It's an actual series, and they have their own covers, and it's like, wow. That's not gonna happen for a little while. After this whole thing with Simon and Monty, whether or not they become official members of the 10, they may not. I think there's a good chance they won't be, but they might be unofficial members. Once that kind of gets resolved, then I can start bringing in backstories of the members of the 10. And that's going to be a lot of fun, because I have their backstory. We've got LD and TK, we've got Chris Grisman, we've got Jono and Renee. There's a few of them that already that have great backstories. And there are a few that are off-world, like Stilk is a member of the 10. There are a few. So It's gonna be interesting. Didn't someone say Monty reflected his mother and Nana? I don't know what that means. Reflected. Did he reflect it or did he reference? I don't. So Monty's mom's story is one that hasn't really been told. Not because I haven't wanted to tell it, because I do, but once it comes out. So, okay, I'll put it to you like this. Not until book 34 are you going to see more of what Monty's mom's story has to do with Monty and his tendency to go towards darkness, and why Dex has been so vehement about preventing Monty's exposure to darkness. So that whole aspect and that whole side of Monty doesn't really get seen until Dark Mage, which is book 34. That's the title. I can tell you the title. So Dark Flame is book 33, which is Simon focused because he's the one that uses a dark flame. And then Dark Mage is book 34, which is Monty and more of his mother's side of the story starts to come out. No, you don't know who all the 10 are, Michelle. They haven't all been revealed because some of them aren't all on the same plane as Monty and Strong. So they're off plane, they come from different areas, and only if it's an extinction level event with all 10 get together. You'd be like an Avengers level event for all 10 to be on the same plane at the same time, fighting the same threat. That's how it would be. So you haven't missed that. No, all 10 haven't been described. You got sprinkled, you got like LD and TK. You get the idea that, that Dex is part of the 10 somehow, but he's not in the 10. There's a bunch of stuff in there, yeah. But all 10 haven't been together. If all 10 are together for an event, you can be sure that they're fighting something way beyond Monty and Simon. Way, way beyond them in terms of power and strength and also understand they're outcasts, right? Excuse me. They're like the ones that they're the undesirables that no one wants but everyone needs. So when things are okay, no one really wants them around. They're uncomfortable around them. But when there's no one else to go to turn to, then people call on the 10. So if all 10 are around, you realize that this is an end game situation, and you need all 10, which hasn't happened, Yeah, Monty going dark would be a problem of titanic proportions. It wouldn't be an all 10 event, but it's something that would definitely bring out the Harbinger and Dex kind of thing, Yeah, no, but you can have a 10 Christmas party if the world is ending. Sweater exchange, carols, things like that, for sure. But in terms of an actual battle to have all 10, I mean, think about what we're talking about. That would be scary to think that, to have all of them together and that you need that level of power to face whatever's coming at you. That would be scary to think of, because that means it's a plane destroying, world destroying force that's coming up against them. That's what it would mean. And it wouldn't just be the 10. The 10 would just be the tip of the spear, right? Because you'd need all the councils, all the powers basically to just come together and say, okay, we got to face this thing. So you need like a Thanos level villain or antagonist to meet all of the 10 and to be able to withstand all of the 10. Let's see, when we were talking about Nana and Peanut and Cece, why did my brain go to Nana being the best babysitter? Yeah, Nana would be an awesome babysitter, but she's always dead somewhere. She pretends to be, but she doesn't do babysitting. Nana's like that awesome grandmom that you visit every so often, but isn't always around. Like she's always traveling somewhere. In her case, she pretends to be dead. My friend wishes to know, is Monty a half mage? No, Monty's a full mage. Well, full mage and more, which gets revealed later on. Does the 10 power scales greater than all of the sects? Yes. I wouldn't say maybe not all of them, but probably on par, because they were members of the sect, right? And then they got either exiled or they left on their own. So they were members of the sect that they were each part of. And I don't know if it scales to the point where they could be more powerful than all 10, but they could probably give the sects I can't believe I use that word. Sect. Yes. They could probably give them a run for their money, Anthony, for sure. Like, I wouldn't put it past those groups to antagonize the 10 deliberately. That would be dangerous and harmful, maybe even suicidal. Can you imagine what they would learn? Who would learn? Oh, from Nana? Yeah, that may not be a good thing though, Michelle. I mean, do you really want Peanut and Cece to learn more from Nana? Do you not recall Nana's interaction in a story with Monty and Simon? Yeah, Nana isn't exactly. I don't know if she's the best role model for Peanut and Cece. I would just be making them. Yeah, that would not be good. That would not be good. They would be more dangerous. Yeah, if Nana took both Peanut and Cece under their wing, that would definitely, as I would say, it would robustify their knowledge base, because there are certain things that they could only learn with Nana. But then I would have to let them spend time with Dex and maybe the Morrigan, because that's what's happening at the school of battle magic. And could you imagine what's gonna happen with Peanut and Cece when they finally get their education? I wouldn't say complete, but like rounded off. Yeah, that would be they would be a dangerous duo, Peanut and Cece. Because Peanut and Cece already are scary in terms of power, but they don't really know how to harness it yet. They just have raw power. But if they get like training from Nana and training from Dex and then the Morrigan, that's a scary, scary thought what they would turn into. So yeah, Michelle, if they need to survive, yeah, definitely, sure. I think it'd be good to have characters like that, because every so often you need, and this is another conversation I was having with Chris. Every so often you need characters who are, I wouldn't say OP, overpowered, but who are incredibly powerful. And in this case, like, we have Ezra. Ezra is basically death, right? And so it doesn't get more powerful than Ezra in the M&S world. I don't think anyone, because he's the personification of death. No one is more powerful than Ezra in the M&S world. And every so often you need characters that can approach that level. Maybe not supersede it or surpass it. But with a rock and a saber-tooth tiger instead of silver. That would be an awesome image. That would be an awesome image for sure. I can see her looking like Granny from Looney Tunes. Man, that brings back memories. All right, let's get the questions, because it's 12:20. I can't believe it's 12:20. I blinked and it's 12:20. Okay, so our question queen who has kept the streak going unbroken, Audrey. Audrey, is it Audrey Sienki? Is that how you pronounce your last name, Sienki? And where's that name from? That's a great last name. First question from Audrey, and thank you for the question. You guys are awesome. Do all mages have a shield bearer, or is Monty special? That's a really good question, Don. I don't think anyone's asked that question before. Yeah, Nana and Ezra as adjunct professors. Yeah, that would be, well, Ezra would Ezra as an adjunct professor, kind of scary one. Okay, let's see. Audrey's questions are: what is the one thing, this is for me, for Orlando, what is the one thing you have done that most of your friends haven't? Survived. I've lost a lot of friends over the years, right? And written books. None of my friends have written books. So that's one thing that I've done that most of my friends have not done. Dolly, what superpower do you wish you had, and why?
Making people happy.
It's a good superpower.
Imagine, you're driving, especially in the city. Go ding, and it makes them happy, and they have to laugh and make a joke instead of just being angry and flipping you off and cutting you off.
Which happens so much in the city of happiness. That's a superpower. And Chris says Dolly has a superpower of mom. That's That's a real superpower. I'm glad I got it right, Audrey. Sienki means slim. Oh, cool. Sienki, slim. Nice. I like that. That's a nice ring to it. Okay. What if I'm looking over here, is because the questions are in the screen over here. What is your proofreading process? Okay, so when I start the writing for the day, I go to the writing of the day previous, and I read it, and I robustify, I add or detract, I take away if I need to. But that's my proofreading. I'll read, just get back into the flow of the story, and while I'm there, I'll see if there are any mistakes, or if I'm missing something, if I need to add something, I'll do that. But I won't edit. I'm just what I call it robustifying, which is like fleshing out a chapter or a scene. That's what I'll do. I won't take time to edit because then it just bogs everything down. So, but that's my proofreading process. I'll read and that. Okay, Chris's question. Thank you, Chris. What's one thing you did growing up your kids don't know about because you don't want them doing it? You nailed it. Graffiti is a big thing. I got them both interested into art. One of them does enjoy art, but yeah, I did a lot of graffiti growing up because I lived in New York City, and I lived in New York City during the time when graffiti was considered an art form, even though it's still vandalism and illegal. And so, you know, that's one thing that I've done. They don't know the extent of what I did. Like we used to dodge dogs and climb fences with razor wire and dodge police. I mean, it was major stuff. And doing it in the middle of the night, escaping out of the window, so my mom didn't know what I was doing. It was bad stuff. Like if I would have gotten caught, I would have been dead if my mom had caught me. Like if they had caught me and then called my mom to tell her that her son was busy vandalizing the trains in New York City, that would have been it. That would have ended the chapter of Orlando. That's it. It would have been over. So yeah, it was art back then. It really was. And yeah, no, I'm not Banksy. Yes, I am Banksy. Who knows? So that's one thing that I did that I don't want them to ever do. And I don't think they could because you had to be a little bit deranged to kind of do the things that I did, and you had to run with a crew that was just as crazy as you are. And we were all a little bit psycho back then. So yeah, I don't want them. Kids these days, like that generation these days, at that age, they don't really go out much like the way we did. We were like feral animals. We didn't really stay home much. So like, to give you an example, I'd wake up at 6, 7 o'clock in the morning on a Saturday, and I would say, "Bye, Mom," and she said, "Make sure you eat before you go." And like this is in the summer, and we go out, and my mom, there were no cell phones. There was no way to track us. My mom didn't know where I was the entire day. Then we'd come home around dusk, maybe 7 o'clock. We'd eat food, right? And this is the summer. So we'd eat, and then there was another group, and we'd go out at night. And this group, we dress in all black, we play manhunt in all black, and then we go hang out and just go invade places at night. I was riding trains when I was like 10 years old, 10, 11 years old, alone or with a group of people, which I wouldn't let my kids do today. But I was riding trains in the middle of the night by myself. So, and parents never got wind of the things that we're doing. If they did, the one thing was that there was a serious parent network. So we had to be twice or 10 times as good, because if you did something 20 blocks away, it got to your house before you did, because they just communicated with each other, and you got caught. It was bad. So, but back then, we did things that I would never let my kids do now. We really were hero. We were like wild animals. No rules, no paying attention to parents. No, you can't go. Okay, I'll give you another example, and this is bad though, because things could have happened. So we have a pool in New York, in Queens, called Astoria Pool. It's it's one of the biggest pools in the city, not the biggest. Back then, now I doubt it's the same. But back then, you could climb a 12-foot fence, and the fence was I don't know if you've seen them. They have these hooks on the top where the point is like a point. It's not a joke. Like if you got caught on that hook, you were done. They had to take you off of it. So you could climb those. So we would go there in the middle of the night, right? We'd bring bathing suits. So first of all, Astoria Pool from where I live is far. You have to take trains. So we'd get on a train and we'd do the commute to Astoria Pool. Then we'd sneak in after the pool was closed, right? And the water is still there because it's the summer, the water's there. And we go and sneak into the pools at night. And then we'd get chased out. Well, we have to climb that fence, and then we get chased out by the security guards. These are the kind of things that we do. And if I tell you the other ones, I don't know what the statute of limitations is. So I'm not going to say anymore. But it was bad stuff, bad stuff that you're not supposed to do as a kid. But yeah, there's a lot of stuff that I can't. I want to remain and keep my plausible deniability. Yeah, and then on one of those trips that not that we were part of, but another group was part of. One kid drowned because there are no lifeguards at the pools at night, and so that's one of the reasons why they don't want you in the pool at night, especially if you don't know how to swim. So yeah, and we do things like that. We in the winter, if it snowed, we'd sketch the buses, and what that meant was that so the buses have their routes, and what you do is it has to be snow on the ground that's fairly packed. You get really thick gloves, and you hang on to the back of the bus from the outside as the bus is moving. And there'd be a group of us, like 4 or 5 of us, and you sketch the bus as the bus is going on its route, and have a whole bunch of we'd be like remora, like what are those fish called, remora? Yeah, we'd be like remoras attached to a shark. We'd be hanging on to the back of the bus and sketching the bus. That's what we called it. And what happens if the bus stops suddenly? You end up under the bus and crushed. I mean, we're doing things that. This is why, to Audrey's first question, what's one thing that I've done that most of your friends haven't survived? Because we were putting our lives on the line on a regular basis, doing crazy things. And our parents never knew. That's the thing. Because, we wouldn't be around now if our parents knew half the things that we did. Yeah. So Chris says, yes, my mom was cool and would drive around town with us just hanging back. Yeah, we did it. We had a bunch of great neighbors, but they would go nice and slow and just take us a little bit, especially right after a snowfall, because the streets are deserted. So they would take their car, hang on to the bumper, and back then bumpers were metal, so you really could hang on, and then it would take us around the block and down the neighborhood. That was fun, but we took it a step further with the buses. Then we used to do the same thing in the Bronx Community College. It was in NYU Bronx. Yeah, you sneak it. Listen, in a place like New York City, think about it. If you're a kid growing up in a city like this, it's basically daring you to go sneak into places, especially in Manhattan. If you go to Manhattan at night, there are so many places that the only thing that's stopping you is a fence. That's it. And if you're a little bit creative, you know how to get around those fences. Some of the doors, and now we're talking about 20, 30 years ago, maybe 40 years ago. Some of those doors, all you needed was a really thick piece of plastic or metal, because the locks were so flimsy, and you can just slide it through and you can pop the lock. Come on, and then you have access to, it's basically unexplored country, unexplored territory. And you give that to a group of little kids, and we weren't that little, but we were fairly young. And that's like candy. You kidding? It's crazy. Yeah. Michelle, have a great day and a great rest of your weekend. Kids school close today? Yes. Gas. Oh wow. I hope that gets resolved. That gasoline. Oh, so they're all raining. Yeah. Okay. So rein in that chaos. Rein it in. That kind of exploring of a city is what you get from a group called Ed Runners, or like the parkour group that just runs through the city doing all the stunts and things like that. We do things like that. We were doing it without knowing it was called parkour, but basically what we were doing is we weren't doing it for the stunts. We were doing it to get into places that weren't normally accessible. And that's what we used to do. So we would climb fences, climb walls. We would look at places where you would look at a place and look at a wall or a fence and say, okay, that fence is keeping me out. We would say, what's the best way to climb that fence that I can get to the other side without getting impaled on that razor wire or on that barbed wire? Because that's really what they used most. It was barbed wire back then. Barbed wire, all you need is a towel. You throw it on top, and you can climb over the barbed wire. Razor wire is a little harder. But there are ways around razor wire too. And if you have a pair of pliers, you can cut the razor wire. It springs off and it creates an opening for you. There are ways. But that's what you would do as a young child in New York. Is okay, what's the best way to get over there? And I think kids these days have lost that because it was basically like real life problem solving in a way to figure out a way how to get to something else. It was fun. It's crazy, but it was fun. Now, if I try to climb a fence now, probably going to be calling 911. I think if I try, I can hold myself up with just sheer strength. But climbing a fence, I used to run up fences. It was crazy. Yeah, see, it's a whole different thing. Like Audrey, the city life is different because you have to work with your environment, and the country life, growing up in farms, you have to create a different kind of fun. Like shooting bottles sounds like fun in the junkyard. If that's what you have, that's fun. And you still have trees and you still have things to do there. So yeah, it's all about the environment, right? So that's a lot of fun. I was discussing this with someone the other day, Linda, that I don't see kids playing in the street the way it was when I was young. There aren't many kids, even in New York, which is full of people, because they're all with their devices. And we had the consoles, we had the devices, we had all that stuff, but that community doesn't exist the same way. Where with a group of kids, what are you gonna do today? Let's go outside. All right, let's go. And then we wouldn't have agendas. That whole concept of play dates, that never existed for us. Play dates, you just go with your friends and you make your play date as you go, as the day progresses. You create stuff. And maybe you make up games, you use your imagination, or you play games that you already know, and the day would pass. But this whole thing about having to create an environment where kids can play together, that didn't exist back then, because kids would just get together and you'd meet a new kid, and you get their name, you'd see if they were okay, and if they were, you just invite them into whatever game you were playing. That's the way it was. But I don't see kids on the, not that I'm out on the street that often either, but I don't see kids hanging out on the street like when we were young. It was like a pack of wild animals roaming the streets. It was crazy. So yeah, and it was real life or death problems on, like when we were running the subways, and that's going back to, you had to avoid the third rail, you had to avoid the MTA police. It was no joke. There were dogs that had Dobermans in some of the yards. We had to learn how to avoid those because they were fast. And they had nested fencing. So in order to get to some of the juicier targets, as we would call them, you had to not only cross, so they had one set of fences, then they had a passageway between, and then they had another set of fence, and then they would have razor wire on top, and you had to be able to get, and inside the two fences, sometimes there were three, there were Dobermans roaming around. And so you had to know where the Dobermans were, how to time them, how to run. I don't know how we're still alive, really. Really. Yeah, streets were a lot safer then, because we used to play in the streets all the time. It was crazy. We basically, the streets were our yards. We lived in the streets. Let's see, country field skiing, pulling an idiot, and two boards with roller skates, wheels behind a track and high gear. Wow, and using the bales as molders, you guys were crazy. So it's just as crazy as what we were doing. Just as crazy. We were lucky being rural, the best of both worlds. Without back doors, yeah. If you could just get to the city and you had the woods, because we had to travel to go to the woods. So we had Flushing Park and we had Central Park, and we would go to both. And those were our woods. Sometimes we'd go to Bear Mountain when we were a little older, and we could actually leave the city. And those were woods, real woods, upstate New York. You could bike there if you were strong and had stamina and had a good bike. You can bike to Bear Mountain. It's a long ride, but we used to bike to Rockaway, and we used to bike to Jones Beach, and so we were used to it. But Yeah, it wasn't like it was right here. You had to travel for the rural aspect, but we would do it because we're adventure. For us, it was an adventure. When I was young, we lived in an apartment building, so there were always tons of kids. Yeah, now we live in a different place, more private home, so I just don't see the kids. My nephews, yeah, it's so same here. I lived in the building, and I knew all the kids in the building, but we also had houses on our blocks, and we knew all the kids on the block too. So it was like it was a group, a mob so we had different tiers. We had the younger group, which was my little brother. It was about 10 of them. So that was like 8 years younger than me. Then my sister's group was about 5 years younger than me, and about 15 of those. Then there was my group, which was insane because like 20 of us. And then there was the older group older than us, and it was about 10 of them. And yeah, it was like all on one block. So could you imagine the mob that we were when we got together? It was insane. It was like we took over everything. Yeah, let's see. I don't know if TK didn't turn out too bad. Who needs a nana? Yeah, TK worked with the Morgan, not with Nana. So it's a whole different kind of training, you know? That's why she didn't turn out. Also, TK is a very singular character, so that's why she didn't turn out as bad as she could have. But she's scary, TK. Chris says, where I grew up, Pine Barrens were out. That's nice. That's awesome. But that's awesome to go up that close to nature, I think. Kind of says the way I played when I was young, especially when playing football with the boys. Yeah. Oh, yeah, we had the girls were mixed in with the boys. Like my sister played. The reason my sister went to the Navy and she's like a badass is because she grew up. First of all, I trained her as a little girl and she was tough. And like when we would have fights with other blocks, my sister was one of the first ones to start throwing fists. She was crazy. And so like we're trying to talk and she's already swinging. So, you know. But the girls grew up with the boys. We didn't have any kind of separation. It's like everybody, we played together and we fought together. That's the way it was. That's why the girls was just as tough. Yeah, totally agree, Connie. Question. So are feral children more digital nowadays instead of? Yeah, I think so. I think feral children. First of all, we're older now, so we're smarter in terms of let's not go out there and do that craziness anymore. And it's different. You don't want to be doing that insanity because it definitely shortens your lifespan. But that's the way we were. Yeah, someone in their 20s. So the group that was older than us was, so my group was the 13 to 15 group, and the group older than us was the 17 to 19 group. Those were the old guys. Those were old. 17 to 19 was old. So yeah. And that's how it was. I mean, you're 14, 15, someone who's 19 is like, whoa, they're really old. But they're leaving the teenage years. There's something else. All right, guys, we are almost done. And so I want 10 of you to give me a number from 1 to 7. We can do this. And this has been a great show. I love the reminiscing. It brings back all those memories of when I was a little kid. And we're talking at this point many, many decades ago. And yeah, let's do 1 to 7, guys. Let's go. Give me a number from 1 to 7 so we can close off with our theme song. Produced by Will Musser, who we should really contact to see if we can do more stuff for us in the future. Let's see. What do we got? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 5 more, people. Let's go. 5 more. 5 more. You're going to contribute one number? You're allowed to join in. Looks like 7. 1, 2, 3. Yep. 2, 4, 5, 6 people. 6.99. Thanks, Anthony. Let's say that's 7. All right. So let's say 7. Yeah, 7. Okay, awesome. All right. So before I go, thank you guys all for being here. It's always great to have our coffee clatches and hang out and talk and drink our coffee and spend some time together and discuss pretty much everything we want to discuss. And have a great weekend. Have a great rest of your day today. And have a great weekend. Stay safe. If you're in a place where the weather's acting up and either raining or snowing or flooding, whatever the case may be, be safe. Stay indoors if you can. If you have to go out, just be wary of the weather that you're traveling in. Those of you that are going to be writing or doing stuff, enjoy your writing this weekend. And thank you so much for coming by, either here or on YouTube, wherever you're watching us. If you're watching this and it's recorded, thank you so much for staying with us to the end. And we record these for you to watch if you're on YouTube. And thank you so much for being here. So remember the 3 B's: be kind, be unstoppable, and be uncommon. So I'm going to take my scary face off now.